I don't know who the backup is?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me. You really gonna bring up Bailey Zappi from the practice squad and make him the backup over me and I've been on the active roster? Either Kevin Stfansky thinks Shadore Sanders is Magic City parking lot, straight ass, or he just don't like.
I thought he did a good job of standing in there, taking those hits, and playing decent in this game. But now when you look at some of the negatives on film and the things that he needs to get corrected, he's making some throws that you can't make in these type of situations, especially on the road and especially as a rookie on an offense that's struggling to move the football. The Browns are way too predictable on offense right now when it comes to throwing.
The Cleveland Browns have done it again. They've somehow turned one of the most promising rookie quarterbacks in football into a phantom on the bench, while rolling out the kind of offense that makes fans want to throw their TVs into Lake Erie. And in the middle of this slow-motion meltdown, Kevin Stfansky standing on the sidelines with that blank, nothing to see here look as if the house isn't on fire behind him. Shador Sanders was supposed to be the future, a five-star gunslinger with the swagger, the arm, the leadership, everything this city's been begging for. But instead of lighting up the field, he's become Cleveland's favorite what-if story. Sitting, waiting, watching. While Dillon Gabriel checks the ball down for the 14th time in a row, it's gotten so bad that fans are creating highlight reels with fake clips just to imagine what Shador would look like actually quarterbacking this team.
The Cleveland Browns again, as we're on Shadore Sanders' watch. Now we're on Stfansky getting fired watched as well. We're watching this team just be a comedic joke every single day, from Dillon Gabriel struggling to complete 5-yard passes to watching Stfansky stumble in the media, plus the analytics. Big thing though that's making Cleveland hot right now is Stfansky getting fired.
He trends every game day without taking a snap. And the worst part? Everyone's starting to ask the same question. Is Kevin Stfansky coaching or sabotaging? Because right now, it feels like the Browns aren't just wasting talent, they're actively running from it. And if you thought this QB mess was just about performance, think again, because what's happening in Cleveland is part bizarre strategy, part front office drama, and part full-blown fan revolt. How do you go from having a generational talent on your bench to making a practice squad back up the face of your offense? That's the question Cleveland fans have been screaming since Kevin Stfansky doubled down on Dillon Gabriel. Week after week, game after game, Gabriel steps onto the field and Shador Sanders doesn't. No explanations. No updates. Just radio silence from the head coach and a fuming fan base left to connect the dots. It's not like Shador Sanders is a mystery. He has the pedigree, the poise, the arm strength, and the competitive fire, and he's got college tape that shows he can launch it deep, thread it through pressure, and take over when everything's on the line. The kind of guy you build a franchise around.
Football. I don't know if he has a high enough ceiling right now to be a franchise starting quarterback in the NFL that you can build off.
I don't think he did enough to keep his job at all. You say he playing good.
I said he's not playing bad.
Oh, from what I watched, I counted 10 throws that I was like, all right, them pretty good throws. 10 out of 52 though. He's not playing.
Or at the very least, test drive in a game. Yet, here we are. Gabriel is the starter, fans are confused, analysts are baffled, and even rival teams are wondering if Cleveland has quietly adopted a new strategy called, let's do the opposite of what makes sense. And this isn't about hating on Dillon Gabriel. He's not bad, but that's the problem. He's not bad enough to be totally benched, and not good enough to give fans any real hope. His stats are average, his pocket presence is shaky, and with every short pass and stalled drive, the energy in the stadium drains like a phone on 1% in the middle of a snowstorm. But it gets worse. Rather than acknowledge the situation, Coach Stfansky seems to be doubling down on the weirdness.
Not say to fire Kevin before the season or after last season. I should have. I'm saying it now, fire Kevin. Like when you watch the team look unprepared, undisciplined, like they don't know what they're doing, poorly coached, over and over and over. It's like, okay, I've had enough. And I know I'm not the only one.
Promotions, public vote of confidence type press conferences, and firm statements about Gabriel being the guy. All while Shedeur sits in full pads, basically getting treated like the break glass in case of emergency option, and that glass never even cracks. Cleveland fans aren't mad because the team is losing. They're mad because they can see the answer, watch it sit on the bench every week, and they're being told to ignore it. It's like parking a Ferrari in the garage and choosing to drive a minivan with bald tires because it makes you feel safe. At some point, it looks less like strategy and more like sabotage. And here's the kicker. The Browns aren't just ignoring an exciting quarterback, they're squandering energy, momentum, and most importantly, fan trust. Because in a city where patience wears thin fast, every confusing decision gets magnified. Every quarterback draw play with Gabriel running in slow motion becomes another reason to chant, "Put in Shador."
With Dylan Gabriel is, he's going to play it close to the vest to a point where he's not really going to put the ball in harm's way to look crazy bad. So what would you need to see? What do you think Kevin Stfansky would need to see to even contemplate the trade or contemplate put Shadore Sanders in the football game?
Well, I think that if he wants to put Shedeur in the game.
But while the fans are organizing online revolts and flooding social media with memes, the real heat is building somewhere else right at the top. Kevin Stfansky might be the calmest man in the NFL, which would be a good thing if the entire city of Cleveland wasn't seconds away from setting the franchise on fire. While fans are raging, quarterbacks are flopping, and games are slipping away like wet footballs, Stfansky stands there week after week with the same blank stare like a man buffering in 4 kelvins. And for a while, people gave him the benefit of the doubt. After all, he led a playoff run, right? He's the system guy, the analytics guy, the steady hand through chaos. But now, that steady hand looks more like a stubborn grip on a sinking ship. The decision to stick with Dylan Gabriel isn't just unpopular, it's borderline delusional. Week after week, fans watch a watered-down offense with zero explosiveness, zero identity, and zero urgency.
And Kevin Stfansky continues to gaslight and tell people that, yeah, it's my decision, he gives us the best chance to win. Is he watching the same Dylan Gabriel that I'm watching?
Gabriel racks up checkdowns while touchdowns vanish into thin air. And through it all, Stfansky keeps saying the same thing. He gives us the best chance to win. To most fans, that sounds more like gaslighting than coaching advice. And now, the whispers are getting louder. Behind the scenes, league insiders are starting to talk. Is Stfansky losing the locker room? Is ownership starting to ask questions? Is this the beginning of the end? Because when your offense looks broken, your fan base is boiling, and your top prospect is sitting in street clothes, people stop asking about next week's playbook. They start asking about your job. Reports are already circulating that the front office is watching this situation closely. Really closely. Like, we might call you in on Monday. Closely. Especially if the Browns drop another game in the kind of soul-crushing, clock-mismanaging, field-goal-missing style that's practically a franchise tradition.
Regardless of how you feel about Shedeur, at this point, you have to feel bad for Shedeur, because what the heck is this? Kevin Stfansky full of shit. Oh wow. He full of shit. That's the type of coach you talk about instilling confidence into your players. How do you think that makes Shedeur feel?
And here's the kicker. It's not just about wins right now, it's about optics. The Browns keep making decisions that look bad, feel bad, and spin terribly in headlines. Letting Joe Flacco go, doubling down on Gabriel, ignoring Shedeur, it's a carousel of confusion. Stfansky isn't just staying silent, he's looking disconnected, tone-deaf, emotionless while a city begs for answers. And that's the dangerous part. Once fans believe you've stopped listening, they stop caring. Right now, Cleveland doesn't just want change. It needs it. The team is flatlining, and the only thing pumping blood through the fan base is blind hope that anybody will make the obvious call. And if you think fans are exaggerating this mess, wait until you hear what happened with Joe Flacco, the city's last hope, and how his exit made everything 10 times worse. Before the chance for Shedeur took over every Browns home game, there was one last spark of hope in Cleveland. His name? Joe Flacco. Yeah. That Joe Flacco, the seasoned veteran no one expected to care about, let alone rally behind.
Go play stupid like Dylan Gabriel, then get 52 passing attempts, get sacked 6 times, have a quarterback rating of 34, and look as bad as possible.
But somehow, in typical Browns fashion, the story flipped. The 8-year-old stepped into chaos and gave the fanbase something they hadn't felt in years. Belief. He wasn't perfect, far from it, but he played with guts, deep throws, late-game magic, command of the huddle, a vibe that something different was finally happening. People even started joking that Flacco wasn't just a quarterback, he was a spiritual leader, a Browns folk hero in cleats. He bought instant credibility. Fans were rocking Flacco jerseys. Reporters were writing comeback of the year stories. There were kids in the stands yelling, "That's our QB." And then, gone, vanished, cut. One week you're leading a playoff push, the next, you're a ghost. It happened so fast, most fans barely believed it at first. No real explanation, no tribute, no thanks, no plan. Just the coaching staff deciding, nah, we've seen enough. And their new plan? Bet everything on Dillon Gabriel, a rookie with 0 starts, a nervous release, and the pocket presence of a folding chair in a hurricane. Let that sink in. Flacco brought life and momentum to Cleveland, and instead of building off that energy, they shipped him out, only to replace him with safe, short past Dillon and ignore the Ferrari they've been keeping chained up in the garage. And you could feel it. The moment Flacco left, energy around the team plummeted. Any leftover excitement turned straight into frustration. The fans weren't just confused, they were insulted. It felt personal, disrespectful. Another classic Browns move where they finally touch success, then throw it away for vibes and excuses. And the worst part? Once the Flacco exit happened, all bets were off. That's when fans stopped trusting the process, stopped waiting for logic. That's when the number free Shadore movement exploded. Because if the team could ditch Flacco at his peak and turn to Gabriel knowing exactly what he wasn't, it made people wonder, what are we even doing? Now, instead of fighting for wins, the Browns are fighting their own city's patience. Instead of building momentum, they're building memes. And instead of giving Shador Sanders his shot, they're replaying the same tragic cycle with a different face. But if Joe Flacco was the city's old-school hero, Shador Sanders has become something even bigger. A myth, a fantasy, the answer to every what-if question in Cleveland football. There's a Ferrari sitting in the Browns' garage. And every single week, it just sits there, engine off, collecting dust. That Ferrari? Shador Sanders. You'd be forgiven for thinking he's already played a game with how much his name dominates the conversation in Cleveland. But the truth is, he hasn't thrown a single regular season pass. And yet somehow, the city treats him like he's already a Pro Bowler. If Dillon Gabriel is the quarterback Cleveland has, Shedeur is the quarterback everyone wants.
Dillon would have to go out there and just completely look lost. I think that the reason that they trust Dillon, the reason why they trust Dillon so much and not Shedeur, you know what I think it is, what it's starting to boil down to, is that Dillon listens to Kevin.
And at this point, it goes beyond football. It's become a movement. Fans aren't asking politely anymore. They're chanting his name like he's some kind of emergency rescue plan for a season going up in flames. Social feeds are plastered with number-free Shadore. Memes are everywhere. Photoshopped highlights showing Sanders making throws he hasn't even attempted at this level yet. People posting imaginary stat lines, like he's already gone 3-5 for 3-8 for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's wild, but it's not unjustified. This isn't some scrub fans are blindly obsessed with. Shadore has the resume. He has the arm, the poise, the experience playing under pressure. And on top of that, he brings something Cleveland hasn't had in forever: confidence. The kind of confidence you can feel just by watching him walk into a huddle. The swagger that rubs off on teammates. The command of a guy who's not waiting for permission, he just knows he should be out there. But Coach Stfansky, he's treating this kid like a last resort, like a plan you keep in the drawer for a total disaster. Meanwhile, the actual disaster is already unfolding on the field every Sunday. The offense looks like it's allergic to the red zone. The passing game feels like playing Madden with a broken controller. The team isn't just struggling, they're stiff, predictable, robotic. And the fans? They see the solution. They shout it every game, louder and louder until the TV commentators can't ignore it anymore. Put in Shedeur. You hear it in the stadium. You see it in every Facebook comment. It's on car flags, signs, and group chats. He's not just a player anymore. He's a symbol of change. A python of pressure is tightening around this team not just because Shedeur is being benched, but because no one can explain why. And in Cleveland, where frustration is practically a sport of its own, nothing fuels a fanbase like a talented, hungry player being locked away while mediocrity runs the show. But if Shadore's popularity is soaring without playing, Dillon Gabriel's leash just keeps getting shorter, and after his last performance, even his defenders have gone quiet. Let's get real. If Dillon Gabriel was trying to win over Cleveland, he's doing it with the finesse of a car stuck in first gear. Last game, 52 passing attempts, 6 sacks, quarterback rating in the 30 seconds. By halftime, some fans were tweeting like they were writing his obituary. And by the fourth quarter, all hope vanished like a fourth down conversion in the Browns' playbook. He didn't just have a bad game, he had a game that made people walk their dogs at halftime just to avoid watching the offense. And yet, somehow, Coach Stfansky still stood behind the podium afterward and called it decent. Let's be honest, Dillon Gabriel isn't terrible. He just plays like the human version of neutral. He's safe, he's short, he's scared to stretch the field. You won't catch him throwing into double coverage, but you will catch him dumping it off on 3 RD and 1-2 like a man who's allergic to first downs. And maybe that's what Stfansky likes. Predictability, control, conservative play. But the problem is, safe football doesn't win angry fan bases, or games, or keep jobs. Right now, Gabriel's playing like a placeholder. He's not giving you nightmares, but he's not creating dreams either. He's that beige wall in your house you've been meaning to paint for 5 years, and every Sunday, fans are just staring at it, hoping next week it'll change color. You could see it in the way the stadium reacted. Boos started flying way earlier than usual. And every time Gabriel missed a wide-open receiver or scrambled into nowhere, the camera would pan to Shadore Sanders on the sideline, calm, watching, waiting, like a lion in a cage, while the zookeeper keeps feeding the giraffe. Even Gabriel's supporters, the ones screaming, "Give him time," are starting to go quiet. Because this isn't about one rough game. This is about repetition. The offense isn't growing, it's shrinking. Stats are flatlining. Explosiveness? Gone. And the excuses are running out. You can't call yourself a quarterback whisperer if your guy looks like he's forgot how to shout. And when your city is yelling for the backup quarterback like he's the Avengers showing up to stop Thanos, there's a bigger problem. Fans aren't just frustrated, they're embarrassed. Because week after week, they're watching other teams take risks, build around potential, create energy, while their team keeps forcing something that clearly isn't working. They're not mad that Gabriel isn't elite, they're mad that he's the only option being given a chance. And through all of this, Coach Kevin Stfansky remains stone-faced, refusing to blink, refusing to adjust, and maybe, just maybe, betting his entire career on a quarterback that no one believes in but him. There's a fine line between confidence and delusion. And right now, Kevin Stfansky is walking it like a tightrope with no harness above a stadium full of angry fans holding free Shadore signs. From the outside, he looks unfazed, calm, collected, even smug. Standing on the sidelines like he's casually managing a team that just needs to execute better, while the building around him is visibly cracking at the foundation. But here's the thing that calm, it's freaking everybody out. Because the more the offense crumbles, the more Gabriel struggles, the more fans chant Shadore's name from the nosebleeds, the more Stfansky doubles down. Same play calling, same quarterback, same post-game quotes. He's not adjusting, he's entrenching. It's like he's trying to prove a point. Not lead a team, not win games. Just prove that he was right even if it costs him everything. And that's when you start asking the hard question. Does Kevin Stfansky genuinely believe Dillon Gabriel is the best option for this team? Or is he just too stubborn to admit he was wrong? Because right now, it feels like the only thing he's scheming is his own downfall. Players have started reacting, body language is shifting, sideline energy is sinking. Even the defense, which has carried the team all season, is showing signs of detachment. They're out there bleeding for 3 quarters just to watch the offense cough it up like a bad punchline. And meanwhile, Shador Sanders? Sitting, waiting, watching another stalled drive, watching fans chant his name louder every week, watching a coach treat him like a risk instead of a resource. The longer this goes on, the clearer it becomes. Stfansky isn't just coaching against opposing teams, he's coaching against his own franchise. Because this isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore, it's a full-blown power struggle between logic and loyalty. And right now, Kevin Stfansky is losing that battle. He's trying to outsmart public pressure, outcoach reality, and outlast the boiling frustration that's growing louder by the hour. But here's the hard truth. You don't get credit for holding the line when it's drawn in the wrong place. And at this point, it looks like Stfansky's greatest trick might not be calling plays, it's pretending that none of this chaos is happening. Fans see the pattern, the press sees the cracks, even rival teams are watching like it's a reality show. The only one who doesn't acknowledge the storm is the one holding the umbrella. But inside that locker room, the pressure's not just coming from the fans anymore, it's coming from within. Because even the players are starting to whisper, what would we look like with Shador leading us? At first, it was just the fans. Then came the memes, the chants, the tweets. Now, even inside the locker room, the voices are starting to shift. It's subtle, no public outbursts, no open rebellion, but every team has a pulse, and right now, Cleveland's is unsteady. Some players still toe the company line, say the right things in interviews, back Dillon Gabriel's character and composure. They nod along with the "we believe in our guy" narrative, because that's what pros do when the cameras are on. But behind the scenes, there's a different conversation happening. A quieter, more dangerous buzz building in back rooms, on the practice field, in the locker corner, after a tough loss. Because these guys are watching the same tape as everyone else. They're seeing what the offense is, and more importantly, what it isn't. They're watching receivers get open with no ball coming. Studbacks getting fed like afterthoughts. Drive after drive, ending with punt formations. And they know, they feel it. Something isn't clicking, and the elephant in the room is wearing number 5, standing on the sideline, watching it all unfold like a soldier kept out of the war. Shador Sanders. He's not second string. He's a symbol. He's the what if everyone's quietly obsessed with. There are veterans who think a quarterback switch could be the spark everyone needs. Young guys who dream of catching passes from a playmaker who's actually aggressive. And positional groups starting to wonder how long they're supposed to trust the plan when there's clearly a better option waiting. That kind of split? That's poisonous. It starts as just casual locker room banter. Man, imagine if Shedeur was in there. I wonder how different that play looks if he's slinging it. At first, it's playful. Then it becomes weekly. Then it echoes after losses. And suddenly, the locker room isn't just following the coach, it's questioning him. Every missed throw by Gabriel isn't just a football play anymore. It's a drop of friction. Every stalled possession, a reminder that someone else could be under center. And that invisible divide between those content to ride it out and those desperate for change, it's growing faster than anyone inside that building wants to admit. Because players want wins. Not press conference sound bites, not excuses manufactured in team meetings. They want results. And when those don't show up on Sundays, they start looking for someone new to follow. And right now, that someone is Shedeur, whether Stfansky likes it or not. And if you're wondering how long this weird, stubborn standoff can keep going, don't. Because the countdown is already ticking, and the fallout is closer than anyone's willing to say out loud. This isn't just some slow burn anymore. This is a ticking time bomb in a locker room full of matches. The Browns aren't just struggling, they're losing time, losing faith, and losing the very people who once believed this season could be different. And everyone knows what's coming. You can feel it in every groan from the crowd, every sideline glance from the players, every awkward press conference where Kevin Stfansky repeats the same hollow phrases like a man trying to manifest belief out of thin air. The fans? They've passed the point of patience. This isn't frustration anymore. This is mutiny. Every time Dillon Gabriel dinks the ball 5 yards on 3 RD and 1-0, that frustration boils hotter. Every time Shedeur stays helmet-clad, untouched, unfazed on the bench, the chants get louder. This isn't just hype, it's destiny knocking. And if Coach Stfansky keeps the door locked much longer, he's not going to be able to open it at all. Because, let's be honest, he's not just coaching under pressure. He's coaching for his job. Reports are surfacing that the front office is watching closely like binoculars in the suite closely. Ownership is starting to ask uncomfortable questions, not about player personalities or potential, but about results or the lack of them. And the Browns? Since week 14 of last year, they've averaged just 13.7 points per game. That's not a slump. That's a system failure. The kind of offensive stagnation that doesn't just kill seasons, it kills careers. And now, the pressure's shifted. It's no longer should Stfansky play Shedeur? It's what is he waiting for? Because when your offense looks allergic to the end zone, when your hand-picked quarterback racks up snaps but no sparks, when your fan base is unified, not around a win, but around a wish, something's gotta give. And deep down, Stfansky has to know it. You can see it in his eyes after every game. The way he slowly peels off that headset. The way he started over-explaining his decisions even when nobody's asking. It's that coach under siege energy. The kind that happens right before ownership phones go red hot. Because all across Cleveland, from sports bars to stadium bleachers, there's one name on everyone's lips: Shador Sanders. Not just a quarterback, not just a rookie, but a revolution waiting to be unleashed. And here's the hard truth. The longer the Browns delay that moment, the more guaranteed it becomes that someone's getting fired before the end of this script. Whether it's next week, mid-season, or Monday morning after yet another 13-point embarrassment, the writing isn't just on the wall. It's bolded, underlined, and trending on Twitter.